Have you ever wondered what truly lives in the secret mind of a man? Not the words he says out loud, not the casual jokes he throws around, but the quiet dreams he carries when nobody is watching. You see, every man has a world inside of him, a world of desire, of longing, of unspoken hunger, and the truth is, very few women ever discover it. Most people believe men are simple when it comes to intimacy. They think men only want one thing, and that it's shallow, predictable, and easy to understand. But that's the biggest misunderstanding of them all, because inside, every man beats a heart that craves more than just the physical. He craves meaning. He craves passion. He craves to feel alive, respected, wanted, and deeply connected. And if you are willing to look a little deeper, you will find that intimacy is not just a physical act to him. It is a message, a symbol, a mirror of how he sees himself in your eyes. The hidden truth is this. The way a woman loves a man shapes the way he sees the entire world. When he feels desired, he walks taller. When he feels ignored, he shrinks inside. When he feels respected, he can move mountains. And when he feels unseen, even his strongest side begins to collapse. This is not weakness, it is human psychology. Because at the core of every man is a burning question, am I enough? And the way intimacy is shared answers that question louder than words ever can. Think about this for a moment. Men are often taught to hide their emotions, to act strong, to never show need. But behind that mask, they are searching for someone who sees past the surface. Someone who can read the quiet fears he hides. Someone who can answer the hunger he cannot put into words. And when that happens, when he feels that level of connection, he will give himself to you in ways that are unshakable. This is why I tell you, understanding. A man's secret dreams about intimacy is not just about sex. It is about unlocking the very center of his soul. It is about creating a bond so powerful that no other woman could ever replace you. Because when a man finds a woman who awakens him on every level, body, heart, and spirit, she becomes unforgettable. Now here's something important to remember. What men dream about is not random. It is not meaningless. It comes directly from psychology, from their fears of rejection, their craving for respect, their need for novelty, their desire to feel like a king, and their longing for emotional closeness. These 5 silent dreams, which I will share with you in this video, are the key to keeping his heart burning for you. And the best part? Once you understand them, you will realize that intimacy is not about trying harder, but about seeing deeper. So let me ask you, what if you could know the 5 types of intimacy that men secretly dream about? What if you could tap into his hidden world and suddenly become the one woman who understands him more than anyone else ever has? Do you realize the power this would give you? Not just in the bedroom, but in the relationship as a whole? Because when you master this, you do not just hold his desire, you hold his loyalty, his focus, his respect, his everything. This is why I want you to stay with me until the very end of this video. Because by the time we are done, you will see men in a completely different light. You will understand what no one ever told you. You will carry a secret that most women never discover. And with that knowledge, you will have the ability to ignite something inside him that he has been searching for all his life. But here's the reward, I promise you. If you watch until the end, you will not only learn the 5 types of sex men dream about, you will also unlock a deeper understanding of his psychology, of his hidden fears, of the very things that drive his heart. And once you hold that knowledge, you will see how easy it becomes to keep the fire alive, to keep his attention locked on you, and to make him feel like he has finally found what he was looking for all along. This is not just about intimacy. This is about power, the power of awareness, the power of connection, the power of love at its highest level, the kind of love that makes a man never forget you, never replace you, and never let go of you. So ask yourself, are you ready to discover what men truly dream about? Are you ready to look beyond the surface and step into the hidden world of his desires? If the answer is yes, then stay with me, because what comes next will change the way you see men forever. Desire is not random. It is not a sudden spark without meaning. It is shaped by the mind, built by experiences, and carried by hidden beliefs that most men never say out loud. To understand what a man truly wants, you must first understand what drives him at his core. Desire is not about the body. It is about identity, confidence, and the way he feels when he is with you. At the heart of every man lives a silent engine. It runs on acceptance, admiration, and the need to feel powerful in the eyes of the woman he loves. When that engine is fueled, he is unstoppable. When it is starved, he begins to question himself, doubt his worth, and retreat into silence. Desire is the reflection of that engine. It is not just physical hunger, it is his way of asking, do you see me? Do you value me? Do I matter to you? Human psychology teaches us that men are often raised to hide weakness. They are told to be tough, to stay strong, to never show fear. But when the lights are off, when masks fall away, they still long for reassurance. They crave proof that who they are is enough. Intimacy becomes their secret language of validation. Every touch, every word, every glance is a signal that answers the deep question inside their heart. This is why desire feels different for men than it seems on the surface. To outsiders, it may appear simple, but in reality, it carries layers of emotion. It is pride, it is relief, it is healing, it is fire. To him, it is the bridge between his public image and his private world. And when that bridge is strong, he stands taller everywhere else in life. When it is weak, he feels lost, no matter how successful he looks on the outside. Think for a moment about the way the human brain is wired. Reward pathways light up not only with pleasure, but with meaning. When a man feels desired, his brain releases dopamine, filling him with excitement. But when he feels deeply connected, oxytocin flows, creating trust, safety, and loyalty. This is not just science, it is the blueprint of human bonding. Desire mixed with emotion is the most powerful force that holds two people together. This explains why men chase novelty, adventure, and intensity. It is not because they are restless, but because their psychology craves stimulation that reminds them of life, energy, and passion. At the same time, they crave calmness, tenderness, and care, because those moments remind them they are safe and loved. It may look like a contradiction, but in truth, it is balance. Every man carries both fire and water inside, and his desires are shaped by the need to experience both. When a woman understands this, she steps into rare power. She no longer sees intimacy as a chore or a duty. She sees it as a tool to reach his heart and mind. She learns that every moment shared is an opportunity to either strengthen or weaken his soul. Psychology proves that consistent reassurance builds trust, and trust builds lasting passion. A man who feels trusted and admired is a man who will move heaven and earth for the woman beside him. There is something else most people miss. Desire is tied to memory. A single powerful moment can stay in a man's mind for years, shaping how he sees himself and how he sees you. It becomes a reference point, a reminder of what is possible. This is why some relationships never fade, even after years apart. The memory of being fully seen and fully wanted never dies. It is imprinted into the brain, locked into the nervous system, carried forever. But here is the deeper truth. Men are not searching for perfect bodies or flawless looks. They are searching for feelings. They want to feel admired, not judged. They want to feel wanted, not tolerated. They want to feel like a hero in your story, not just a background character. When these psychological needs are met, their desire burns brighter than ever, and when they are ignored, no amount of physical attraction can keep their attention. This is why some men remain loyal for life, while others wander endlessly. It has little to do with surface beauty and everything to do with emotional fulfillment. The man who feels like his deepest needs are met has no reason to search elsewhere. His heart is satisfied. His soul is at peace. His fire is already alive where he stands. The man who feels empty, on the other hand, begins to drift because his psychology is starving. Understanding this changes everything. It means intimacy is not just about attraction. It is about emotional intelligence. It is about knowing how the male mind works, how his fears drive his choices, how his ego shapes his hunger, and how his heart longs for acceptance. A woman who can see this clearly becomes rare because she is not guessing. She is not reacting blindly. She understands the map of his mind, and she walks it with confidence. Desire, at its core, is not about taking. It is about becoming whole. For men, it is about finding a place where they can lay down their armor and still feel strong. It is about being free to express themselves without fear of rejection. It is about being reminded, through passion and connection, that they are not alone. When you begin to see desire as psychology instead of just biology, you unlock a secret world. You discover that men are not as complicated as they seem, yet not as simple as society tells you. They are human beings, driven by both strength and vulnerability, and when you learn how to speak to both, you hold a power that lasts forever. There is a kind of intimacy that men dream about more than anything else. It is not polite. It is not measured. It is raw, burning, and untamed. It is passion. The kind of passion that makes his heart race, his body tremble, and his soul feel alive. This is not just about touch. It is about energy, about fire, about being consumed by a moment so intense that nothing else in the world exists. Every man longs to feel this kind of hunger from the woman he loves, because passion tells him something words cannot say. Passion says, "You are wanted, you are irresistible, you light a fire inside me I cannot control." When a man feels that, he comes alive in a way that no success, no achievement, no recognition can give him. It is not about ego, it is about vitality. It is proof that he still has the power to awaken desire. Psychology reveals that passion is not only physical but deeply emotional. Men tie their sense of strength to how much they can still inspire longing. When a woman meets him with intensity, it gives him more than pleasure. It gives him confidence. It tells him he is still powerful, still magnetic, still capable of stirring something wild inside her. This is why passionate moments burn into memory. They mark him. They remind him that he is more than just a man going through daily routines. He is still a spark of life. Think about it. Routine kills energy. Predictability weakens excitement. Life becomes a cycle of responsibilities, obligations, and duties. But when passion explodes, even for a short time, it shatters that cycle. It breaks the monotony. It reminds him that love is not supposed to be boring. It is supposed to be fierce, alive, and unforgettable. Passion is the rebellion against the dullness of life. And deep inside, every man dreams of a woman who brings that rebellion to him. This is why passionate intimacy is not quiet. It is explosive. It comes from surprise, from spontaneity, from letting go of control. Men want to see that the woman they are with does not only love them, but craves them. They dream of moments where boundaries dissolve, where inhibition disappears, where both are consumed by pure desire. Because in that moment, he is not just a partner. He is a force that moves her heart and body without hesitation. Psychologically, passion triggers one of the strongest emotions in men, pride mixed with gratitude. Pride, because he feels like he has unlocked something fierce inside her. Gratitude, because he knows she chose to give that part of herself only to him. That combination is rare, and it is addictive. It makes him want more. It makes him want to hold on tighter, to give more of himself, to stay forever bound to the one who makes him feel alive. Passion also carries another hidden meaning. It signals equality. It shows him that desire flows both ways, that she is not only receiving but also burning with her own hunger. Men secretly crave this because it relieves the fear that they are the only ones trying, the only ones reaching, the only ones needing. When he feels her intensity, that fear vanishes. Suddenly, he is not chasing alone. He is running together with her in the same flame. Many people underestimate how important this is. They think men simply want release, but what they actually want is to feel the uncontrollable pull of passion. It is the difference between being tolerated and being worshipped, between being with someone who is present and someone who is fully lost in him. That difference is what separates ordinary intimacy from unforgettable passion. And men are always dreaming of the unforgettable. It is also important to understand why this type of intimacy is so powerful. In psychology, states of heightened arousal create stronger memories. The brain locks onto the moments that feel intense, emotional, and alive. Passion, therefore, is not just about pleasure in the moment. It is about creating a lasting imprint in his mind. One passionate encounter can echo inside him for years, keeping him connected to you even when distance or time tries to interfere. Passionate intimacy also awakens something primitive inside men. It ties them back to instinct, to raw human nature, to the untamed side of love that modern life often buries. And men long for this because it is liberating. It frees them from rules, from expectations, from the weight of having to always be controlled. For once, they can surrender to fire without fear. That release is priceless. But here's the most powerful truth. When a man experiences this type of passion, it does more than satisfy him. It bonds him. It convinces him that he has found something rare, something that cannot be replaced. Because passion is not common, it is not found in every relationship. It is rare because it requires both people to let go, to be vulnerable, to be fearless. When he finds it, he knows he has found something extraordinary. This is why passion is the first dream that lives in the heart of every man. Not because it is shallow, but because it is the fuel that keeps love alive. It is proof that desire has not faded, that fire still burns, that he is still the man who can move her without trying. And when he feels this, he will hold on, he will fight for it, he will protect it with everything he has, because for him, passion is not just sex. It is life itself. Passion is fire, but men also dream of something completely different. They long for moments where the world slows down, where everything is calm, and where intimacy feels like shelter. This is the second dream that lives quietly in their hearts, the dream of tenderness, the kind of closeness that is not wild or rushed, but soft, warm, and filled with care. It is the intimacy of gentle touch, where love is not shouted, but whispered. For a man, this kind of connection is more than comfort. It is healing. Life demands so much from him. He fights battles every day, carries silent pressures, and hides fears he will never confess. When he enters a space where love is given with patience, where touch carries kindness instead of urgency, he finally breathes. He feels safe, he feels seen, he feels like he does not need to perform to impress or to prove anything. In that moment, he is allowed to just be. Psychology teaches us that men often suppress stress and emotion. They are taught to endure, to be strong, to carry weight without showing weakness. But this constant control drains them. Tender intimacy becomes their secret medicine. It tells them, you don't need to hold the world on your shoulders right now. Here, you are cared for. Here, you can rest. That message is priceless. It gives his spirit permission to let go of tension and return to peace. Gentle connection is powerful because it reaches beyond the body and touches the soul. Men may not always admit it, but they crave softness. They want the warmth of skin against skin, the calm rhythm of closeness, the feeling of being nurtured. It is not about speed or intensity. It is about presence. When love is expressed in this way, it tells him, you are enough even when you are still, even when you are vulnerable. And that message melts even the hardest walls. Many people think tenderness is only for women, but that is far from the truth. Men hunger for it in silence. They want to be held as much as they want to hold. They want a connection that does not demand performance, but offers acceptance. And when they receive this kind of affection, something remarkable happens. They begin to trust more deeply. They let go of defenses they normally hide behind. They open their hearts in ways they never thought possible. In human psychology, trust is built through consistent experiences of safety. Tender intimacy provides exactly that. It says to him, you are not alone. You are not just desired for your strength, but valued for your whole being. When he feels this kind of care, his loyalty deepens. He ties that feeling to the woman who gave it to him, and he treasures her beyond measure. Because in a world where he must constantly fight, she becomes the one place where he can finally lay his armor down. Gentleness also carries another hidden meaning. It reassures him of unconditional love. Wild passion may make him feel powerful, but tenderness makes him feel secure. Both are essential, but in different ways. One says, I crave you. The other says, I cherish you. And when a man feels cherished, he finds a kind of peace that nothing else can replace. He no longer feels like he has to earn love. It is simply given, freely, without condition. That experience is rare, and it is unforgettable. Imagine this. After long days of exhaustion, when responsibilities weigh heavy, what a man secretly longs for is not just excitement, but comfort. To be touched slowly, to be held closely, to feel warmth in silence. These moments do not just relax him, they restore him. They remind him of what love truly means. Not a battlefield, not a competition, but a sanctuary, a place where he belongs. This dream is so deep because it answers one of his greatest fears, the fear of being alone in his struggles. When he receives loving intimacy, he feels supported without words. He feels like someone has chosen to stand with him, not just when he is strong, but also when he is tired. That silent support builds a bond stronger than any argument or promise could ever create. It is the kind of bond that makes him stay, because he knows he has found something rare, a love that comforts as much as it excites. There is a reason this type of connection leaves such a lasting impact. Gentle affection activates a man's deeper emotions. It does not just touch his skin, it reaches his inner child, the part of him that still longs for unconditional care. Psychology shows that nurturing touch reduces anxiety, lowers stress, and builds lasting attachment. When he experiences this, he does not just remember it for a moment, he ties it forever to the person who gave it to him. And so, tenderness becomes one of the most powerful dreams he carries. It is not dramatic, it is not loud, but it is profound. It makes him feel safe in ways he never expected. It makes him believe he has finally found someone who understands not just his desires, but his needs. Someone who sees the man beneath the mask. Someone who can love not only the strong parts of him, but also the fragile ones he never shows. For men, this dream is proof that love is more than fire. It is also water, more than storm. It is also calm, more than chase. It is also rest. And when he is given that balance, he feels whole. He feels at home. And no matter where life takes him, he will never forget the woman who gave him that home. In her arms, there is another secret that lives in the heart of men, beyond passion and beyond tenderness. They dream of moments that feel like escape, moments where rules disappear, where the ordinary is broken, and where intimacy becomes adventure. This is not about chaos, it is about freedom. It is the kind of closeness that feels unpredictable, playful, and alive. For a man, adventure and love is proof that life does not have to become dull, that desire does not have to fade, and that love can always be rediscovered in new ways. Monotony is dangerous for the human mind. Repetition can slowly drain excitement, and routine can silently weaken attraction. Men know this even if they never say it out loud. They fear that comfort will turn into boredom, that familiarity will erase fire, that love will shrink into habit, and so they dream of adventure. They long for a partner who is willing to create surprise, to keep things fresh, to remind them that love is a journey, not a destination. Psychology shows that the brain craves novelty. New experiences release dopamine, the same chemical responsible for motivation and joy. Adventure is not about recklessness. It is about giving the mind something different to hold on to. When intimacy carries variety, it tells him that passion is alive. It gives him the thrill of discovery again, even in the arms of the same person he has always loved. That thrill bonds him, because it reassures him that excitement is possible without needing to look elsewhere. For men, adventurous intimacy feels like breaking out of invisible cages. Daily life is full of responsibility, structure, and pressure. But when he is drawn into playful surprise, he feels liberated. It is a reminder that love is not only about duty, but also about fun. It tells him that his relationship is not just a safe space, but also an exciting one. And this combination, safety with thrill, is what keeps his heart loyal. Because he realizes he has both stability and adventure in the same place. Adventure does not mean extremes. It does not require grand gestures or dramatic scenes. It can be as simple as a change in rhythm, a new setting, an unexpected moment that catches him off guard in the best way. What matters is the energy, the sense that something different is happening. Men treasure these moments because they remind them of the first stages of love, when everything felt new, when every touch carried mystery, when every glance held electricity. Adventure brings that feeling back. The truth is, men are not running from commitment. They are running from boredom. They want to feel alive, to feel that the person they love can still surprise them, can still spark curiosity, can still awaken excitement. This is why adventurous intimacy is one of their deepest dreams. It tells them that love is not static, but evolving. That even after years, the flame can still grow higher. That they do not have to fear time because time can make love stronger, not weaker, if variety is embraced. From a psychological view, this kind of intimacy builds lasting bonds because it creates powerful emotional memory. When something unusual happens, the brain remembers it vividly. The more adventurous the moment, the stronger the imprint it leaves behind. And when that memory is tied to love, it becomes part of his identity. He begins to see the relationship not as predictable, but as alive with possibility. That belief keeps him invested because he knows there is always something worth staying for. Adventure also feeds another hidden desire in men, the desire to explore. Deep within human nature is the urge to discover, to conquer, to test boundaries. In life, this may express itself through challenges, risks, or ambitions. But in intimacy, it becomes the dream of variety. When he is given this, he feels not only satisfied, but complete, because it touches a primal part of him that craves movement and change. Without it, he feels trapped. With it, he feels free. Yet there is something even deeper. Adventurous intimacy does not just excite his senses, it builds connection. When two people step outside the ordinary together, they create shared secrets, private experiences, and moments no one else can touch. These memories become the glue that holds them together. They are stories he carries with him, stories that make him smile when he thinks of her, stories that make him long to return to her no matter where he goes. Adventure is also proof of courage. When a woman shows she is unafraid to try something new, it inspires him. It makes him admire her even more. It tells him she is alive, daring, unafraid to grow. That inspires him to match her energy, to rise to her level, to give back the same spark she gives to him. In this way, adventurous intimacy does more than fuel desire. It builds admiration. It makes him look at her not only as a lover, but as a partner in discovery. And so, the dream of adventure is not shallow. It is not careless. It is a man's way of holding on to excitement, of protecting love from decay, of keeping his heart alive. He does not just want stability. He also wants the reminder that love can still surprise him, that no matter how much time has passed, he can still feel the rush of something new. And when he finds this balance, when passion, tenderness, and adventure live together, he knows he has found something worth holding on to for life. There is a longing within every man that is deeper than fire, softer than tenderness, and bolder than adventure. It is the dream of being admired, not for what he does, not for what he owns, but for who he is when he stands before the woman he loves. This desire takes shape in intimacy that makes him feel like a king. Moments where he is not only wanted, not only loved, but honored. For men, this is not arrogance, it is nourishment. It is the confirmation that all of his effort, his struggle, his sacrifices have meaning. Men live in a world where they are constantly judged. Their worth is often measured by their success, their strength, or their ability to provide. Even if they achieve much, inside there is still a voice whispering, "Is it enough?" That voice never disappears. And so they long for experiences that silence it. They dream of closeness that lifts them, intimacy that places them on a throne in the heart of the woman beside them. When that happens, they feel complete. They feel chosen. They feel like kings. Psychology explains this clearly. The male ego is tied to recognition. From childhood, men are conditioned to seek approval through performance. Whether it is in sports, academics, or career, their sense of identity often grows from how much praise they receive. But in adulthood, genuine admiration becomes rare. The world takes their efforts for granted. They keep giving, but few truly appreciate. That is why worshipful intimacy means so much. It gives them back what life takes away. It reminds them they are extraordinary. This type of closeness is not about power games. It is about respect wrapped in desire. It is about showing him that his presence excites, his strength inspires, his touch is unmatched. When a man feels this level of adoration, he becomes deeply loyal. He ties his entire sense of pride to the one who gave it to him, and he will guard her with everything he has, because she gave him what the world never did, reverence. Think about how powerful this is. When a man is treated like he matters, his spirit expands. He no longer doubts himself. He no longer questions his role. He feels certain, solid, and valued. That certainty overflows into every part of his life. He works harder, dreams bigger, and stands taller, because he knows he is admired where it matters most. And all of that strength cycles back into the relationship, making him more devoted, more protective, more giving. Men are often misunderstood in this area. Some assume they only want physical satisfaction, but that is a shallow view. What they truly crave is recognition. They want to feel like the woman they love looks at them with admiration, with awe, with appreciation. They want to feel like they are more than just present. They want to feel like they are irreplaceable. Worshipful intimacy gives them that feeling. It tells them, you are not just a man. You are my man. You are my king. Psychologically, admiration is a stronger bond than attraction. Attraction may bring two people together, but admiration keeps them together. When a man feels respected, his love deepens. He no longer wonders if he is valued. He knows it. And because of that, he invests more of himself. He gives his energy, his time, his commitment, because the relationship is no longer just love, it is pride. This dream is so powerful because it is tied to identity. Every man wants to believe he is enough, that he is doing well, that he is capable. But the world rarely says these words to him. In fact, he often hears the opposite, that he must do more, be more, achieve more. Worshipful intimacy cancels that noise. It says, "You are already more than enough. You are already a king in my eyes." And when he feels that, he is transformed. For men, being admired and loved is the ultimate victory. It makes them feel like their efforts have meaning. It tells them that their struggles are seen, that their sacrifices are valued, that their existence matters. And because of this, they dream of intimacy where they are not only wanted, but celebrated, not only touched, but uplifted, not only accepted, but honored. That is the king's dream, the dream of being the center of reverence for the woman he holds dearest. This is not about ego inflation. It is about emotional security. When he feels admired, he no longer fears rejection. He no longer doubts his worth. He no longer hides behind silence. Instead, he opens, he trusts, he gives, because he knows he is safe in her admiration. That safety creates a cycle of devotion. He worships the one who worships him. He crowns her in there as one dream that reaches deeper than passion, softer than tenderness, and stronger than admiration. It is the dream of unity, the longing for intimacy that feels like two souls meeting, not just two bodies. This is the experience every man quietly hopes for, though he may never put it into words. It is the bond that makes him feel not only loved, but understood. It is the kind of connection that transforms closeness into something eternal. Men are often seen as physical creatures, but beneath the surface, they crave something more profound. They want intimacy that carries meaning, intimacy that tells them, "I see you, I know you, I accept every part of you." This kind of experience is rare because it demands vulnerability. It requires both people to let go of masks, fears, and pride, and to step into raw authenticity. But when it happens, it changes everything. It makes him feel like he has finally found home. Psychology reveals that human beings are wired for connection beyond the surface. Physical satisfaction may calm the body, but emotional union heals the heart. Men, though they often hide this truth, are no exception. In fact, their silence makes this need even stronger. They carry unspoken burdens, unresolved doubts, and hidden pain. When intimacy becomes a bridge to emotional closeness, it lifts those weights. It tells him he no longer has to carry everything alone. This type of bond is powerful because it does not depend on performance or appearance. It depends on presence. It is about being fully there, giving attention, listening with touch, and letting emotions flow without resistance. In these moments, he does not need to prove anything. He does not need to wear armor. He only needs to open, to allow himself to be seen, and to feel that acceptance from the one who matters most. That acceptance is life-changing. For men, this dream of soul connection is the most fragile and the most powerful. Fragile because it requires honesty. Powerful because once experienced, it cannot be forgotten. It is not only pleasure he remembers, it is belonging. It is the feeling that someone truly entered his inner world, embraced his truth, and gave love to all of it. That is the kind of memory that outlives time, that remains even when passion fades, even when circumstances change. Think of how rare this truly is. Many men go through life with relationships that touch the surface but never reach the heart. They may share nights, but not souls. They may share routine, but not depth, and inside they feel an emptiness they cannot explain. That is why, when emotional intimacy finally happens, it feels like water to a desert. It nourishes them in a way they never thought possible. It fills the spaces that nothing else could reach. Science supports this truth. Emotional intimacy activates oxytocin, the hormone of bonding and trust. It builds loyalty stronger than any promise. It creates safety that no outside temptation can break. For men, this is crucial because their greatest fear is not losing pleasure. It is losing connection. They may not admit it, but what breaks them most is the feeling of being unseen, unappreciated, or unloved at the core. Emotional closeness heals that wound. This kind of intimacy also gives men something they rarely allow themselves: permission to feel. In a world that tells them to be tough, to stay silent, to never cry, emotional connection lets them breathe freely. It allows them to release pain, to show weakness without shame, to open their hearts without fear of judgment. That freedom creates a bond that nothing else can replace, because once a man feels safe enough to be vulnerable, he will tie himself forever to the one who gave him that safety. For men, Emotional connection is not just a dream, it is salvation. It transforms their understanding of love. It shows them that intimacy is not only about desire, but also about meaning. It turns moments into memories, and memories into anchors that hold them steady. It tells them they are more than providers, more than protectors, more than roles. It tells them they are human beings worthy of unconditional love, and that knowledge changes the way they love in return. This is why men who find this type of bond become deeply devoted. They no longer see love as a transaction or a responsibility. They see it as a sacred union. They invest their whole being because they know they have found something priceless. They know they have discovered the one thing that every achievement, every victory, every possession could never give them: peace in the soul. And so the dream of emotional connection is not small, it is not casual, it is the highest form of intimacy men carry in their hearts. It is what makes them stay when storms come. It is what makes them fight for love when others would walk away. It is what makes them hold on even when everything else seems uncertain. Because when a man feels this bond, he knows he has found what he was searching for all along, not just a partner, but a soul that mirrors his own. Many women wonder why their partner seems distant, why he grows quiet, or why his energy fades even though love still exists. The truth is simple but often overlooked. It is not because he does not care. It is not because his feelings have changed. It is because the deepest part of him remains untouched. The reality is that most women miss what men silently dream about, not because they lack love, but because they lack awareness. From the beginning, society has painted men in a certain way: strong, stoic, tough, unshaken. Women are taught to expect these traits, and men are taught to hide everything else. As a result, many relationships function on assumptions instead of truth. She assumes he only wants physical closeness. He assumes she cannot handle his vulnerability. And so both remain locked in a cycle where the most powerful connection never fully develops. The mistake is not in love itself, but in understanding. Women often give in the way they wish to receive, through words, through emotion, through nurturing. Men appreciate that, but their unspoken needs run in another language. They long for respect, for admiration, for depth of connection that reassures them they are enough. When this language is missed, he feels unseen, even if he is surrounded by love. He feels unappreciated, even if he is valued. That gap creates silent distance. Psychology tells us that human beings project their own desires onto others. Women may believe men are satisfied with surface affection because that is what they see expressed. But beneath his actions, beneath his calm, is a heart that longs for more. When she does not recognize this, it is not rejection, it is ignorance. She cannot give what she does not know exists, and so he waits. He waits for the moment when someone will see past the armor and into his truth. What many women miss is the power of admiration. Not shallow compliments, but deep acknowledgement. Not simple appreciation, but reverence that tells him he matters as a man. This is not flattery. This is fuel. It gives him the strength to fight the battles outside the home because he feels celebrated inside of it. Yet many women underestimate how much this matters. They may assume he does not need it or that love alone is enough, but without this recognition, he feels incomplete. Another reason women miss these truths is distraction. Life is busy. Work, children, responsibilities, all of it demands time. In the rush of it all, intimacy often becomes routine. It becomes another task instead of a sacred bond. When this happens, the relationship may continue, but the fire dims. She may still love him deeply, but the lack of intentional closeness makes him feel like he is drifting in her world rather than central to it. For men, that feeling is painful. Fear also plays a role. Many women fear that showing admiration or surrendering emotionally will give away too much power. They are told to stay guarded, to remain independent, to never reveal too much. While independence is strength, guarding too much can block connection. Men do not dream of control, they dream of closeness. They do not want worship for ego, they want recognition for soul. But fear blinds this understanding, and the result is distance where there should be unity. Cultural conditioning makes things harder. Women are often told that men are simple, that they only think about one thing, that they do not have emotional needs. This narrative is repeated so often that it becomes accepted as truth. But reality is different. Men may appear simple, but inside they are layered with insecurities, desires, and hopes they rarely voice. When women accept the surface story, they never reach the deeper levels. They miss the part of him that is waiting quietly for connection. This is why so many relationships feel half fulfilled. Love is there, attraction is there, but the depth is missing. She gives affection, but he craves reverence. She offers comfort, but he yearns for admiration. She brings routine closeness, but he longs for soulful unity. None of this means she does not care. It only means she has not been shown the map to his inner world. Without that map, she keeps giving, but not in the way that feeds his heart. When women miss this, men often stay silent. They do not complain because they believe it is their role to endure. They do not demand because they fear appearing weak. They simply adapt. They go through the motions while carrying an unspoken hunger. That hunger is not for more love. It is for the right kind of love. And until it is understood, he remains half-fed, half-seen, half-fulfilled. The truth is not that women cannot meet these dreams. It is that no one ever told them how important they are. They were taught to focus on their own needs, or to assume men's needs were basic. But men are not basic. They are complex, emotional beings who long for intimacy just as deeply as women do. Once this is realized, everything changes. Once this truth is embraced, love transforms. Understanding is the bridge. Once women see what men truly dream of, they unlock doors that have been closed for too long. They awaken depth, loyalty, and passion that cannot be forced in any other way. They discover that what he wanted was never impossible, never complicated, never unreachable. It was only hidden beneath silence, waiting for the one who would notice. And when she finally does, she holds the power to give him not just satisfaction, but wholeness. If most women miss what men truly long for, the question becomes simple. How can they open the door? How can they awaken the dreams men carry quietly within them? The answer does not lie in grand gestures or complicated strategies. It lies in awareness, intention, and courage. It is about choosing to step beyond the surface and into the heart of connection. When a woman decides to do this, she unlocks a power within herself that not only transforms her partner, but also elevates her own experience of love. The first step is presence. Nothing speaks louder to a man than undivided attention. In a world full of distractions, presence has become rare, yet it is in those moments of pure focus, when she looks into his eyes without hurry, when she listens without judgment, when she offers silence that holds space instead of words that fill gaps, that he feels truly valued. Presence is not about time, it is about depth. Even a few minutes of complete focus can create a stronger bond than hours of half-hearted interaction. Another step is admiration, not empty compliments, but genuine recognition of who he is. Men thrive when they feel respected, when their efforts are acknowledged, when their strengths are seen. A simple expression of gratitude can shift his entire spirit. When she says, "I see what you're doing and I appreciate it," she is not only validating his actions, but also affirming his identity. This gives him the confidence to show up even stronger, not because he must, but because he wants to. Vulnerability is also key. Many women wait for men to open up, but often they do not realize that their own openness is the invitation. When she shares her feelings honestly, without manipulation or fear, she creates an atmosphere where he feels safe to do the same. Vulnerability is contagious. It removes masks. It tells him he does not need to hide. And in that exchange of honesty, intimacy deepens in a way that no physical act alone could ever achieve. Another powerful way to unlock his dreams is through intentional intimacy. This does not mean routine or obligation, but conscious effort to make closeness meaningful. When she approaches intimacy not as a duty, but as a celebration of connection, everything changes. She slows down. She becomes fully present. She creates an environment of warmth, playfulness, and trust. This turns intimacy into a spiritual experience rather than a physical one. It is in these moments that men feel their dreams coming alive. Empathy plays a role too. Every man carries struggles he rarely voices. Pressures from work, silent insecurities, fears of failure. When she shows empathy, not by trying to fix everything, but simply by being a safe space, he feels understood. She does not need to solve his battles. She only needs to remind him that he does not fight them alone. That reminder gives him strength. It makes him feel like she is not only his lover, but his partner in every storm. Consistency is what seals it. Anyone can show care occasionally, but true transformation comes from steady, reliable action. When she consistently shows presence, admiration, vulnerability, intentional intimacy, and empathy, she communicates something powerful: stability. Men need to know that the connection is not conditional, that it is not a performance, that it will not vanish with time. When she proves that love is consistent, he surrenders fully, because he finally feels safe enough to trust without hesitation. To unlock his dreams, a woman must also understand the balance between giving and receiving. Men feel empowered when they give, but they feel cherished when their giving is received with joy. Accepting his efforts with gratitude instead of criticism tells him he is enough. Celebrating his gestures, no matter how small, tells him his presence matters. This is not about inflating his ego, it is about honoring his soul. When he feels his love lands in open hands instead of closed fists, he gives more freely, more deeply, more passionately. Another layer is playfulness. Many relationships lose spark because they become heavy with responsibility. But men dream of laughter, of lightness, of moments that feel alive. When she brings joy, when she reminds him of fun, when she creates an environment where stress dissolves, he feels refreshed. He feels that love is not a weight but a gift. Playfulness does not mean immaturity. It means choosing to bring light into moments that could otherwise be consumed by routine. Finally, the greatest key is acceptance. Men, like women, fear rejection. They fear that if they reveal their flaws, they will lose love. But when she accepts him, not just his strengths but also his weaknesses, she gives him the freedom to be fully human. Acceptance does not mean ignoring growth, it means loving without condition. It means saying, "You are enough, even as you grow." That kind of acceptance awakens the deepest dreams in men because it removes the pressure to perform and replaces it with freedom to be. Unlocking a man's dreams is not about control or sacrifice. It is about creating a space where love can breathe fully. When a woman chooses to give presence, admiration, vulnerability, intentional intimacy, empathy, consistency, playfulness, and acceptance, she does more than meet his needs. She awakens his highest self. She shows him that love can be a place of safety, passion, and purpose all at once. And when this happens, something extraordinary takes place. He does not just feel fulfilled, he feels alive. He does not just love, he loves without limits. He does not just dream, he lives the dream every day in the arms of the woman who saw him, who understood him, who unlocked the part of him that the world told him to keep hidden. That is not just relationship advice, that is transformation. That is the key to a love that does not fade, a bond that does not break, and a connection that endures through every season of life. When a man's hidden desires are finally unlocked, the entire shape of love changes. It no longer feels like a routine, a responsibility, or a duty. It becomes alive, vibrant, and unshakable. It moves beyond ordinary affection and enters the realm of devotion. This is the transformation every relationship is capable of, yet few ever reach. It is the point where love is no longer fragile. It becomes unbreakable. A man who feels his deepest dreams fulfilled carries himself differently. He walks with confidence, not from pride but from peace. He does not need to search elsewhere because his soul feels nourished. He does not need to hide behind masks because his truth has been accepted. He does not need to question his worth because he sees it reflected back to him in the eyes of the woman he cherishes. This kind of fulfillment strengthens not only the bond, but the man himself. It makes him braver in life, more willing to fight battles, and more ready to protect what he values. The transformation also shows in the way he gives love. Before, his efforts may have been scattered, cautious, or hesitant, but once he feels his dreams honored, he pours himself without holding back. He invests his energy, his time, his focus. He builds not only a relationship, but a future. He begins to think long-term because his heart has found a home. Psychology teaches us that people commit deeply when they feel safe and significant. When a man experiences this, commitment is no longer a choice. It is a natural response. The connection between partners deepens in ways that cannot be measured by words alone. They begin to feel synchronized, almost as if they share the same rhythm. Their conversations reach a higher level. Their silences become comforting instead of awkward. Their touch carries a depth that ordinary attraction cannot match. Love becomes not just an emotion, but a state of being. It is no longer about what they do together, but about who they become together. This kind of love also brings healing. Men who have been wounded by rejection, neglect, or misunderstanding often carry scars. Those scars shape the way they trust, the way they speak, the way they love. But when their hidden desires are honored, those scars begin to fade. The pain of the past loses its grip because it is replaced by the joy of the present. Love becomes medicine. It repairs the broken pieces and creates something stronger than before. The transformation does not stop with the man, it changes the woman as well. When she sees the results of unlocking his inner world, she realizes the depth of her influence. She sees the power of her presence, her words, and her actions. She feels more cherished, more respected, more valued. The relationship becomes a cycle of giving and receiving, where both are elevated. She unlocks him, and in return, he lifts her higher than she imagined. That is the beauty of love at this level. It is never one-sided. It flows endlessly between two souls who have chosen to see each other fully. Trust also reaches its highest point in this transformation. When dreams are fulfilled, fears lose their power. Doubt fades away because both partners know the bond is built on more than attraction. It is built on truth, depth, and respect. Temptations lose their hold because the connection is too strong to be shaken by outside noise. The man no longer wonders if he is enough, and the woman no longer questions his devotion. They live with a sense of certainty that frees them from the anxieties that plague weaker bonds. Another remarkable change is the sense of purpose that enters the relationship. Love stops being just about two individuals. It becomes a foundation for everything else. It gives both partners the courage to face challenges, to pursue dreams, and to overcome obstacles. When the bond is strong, every struggle feels lighter, every victory feels greater, and every day feels meaningful. This is because true love is not only about romance, it is about building a life together that reflects strength, growth, and unity. The transformation also affects how they handle conflict. Arguments no longer feel like battles. Disagreements no longer threaten the bond. Instead, they become opportunities for deeper understanding. When a man feels secure, he does not respond with defensiveness. When a woman feels valued, she does not react with fear. Together, they approach conflict with compassion, knowing that love is stronger than temporary differences. This creates resilience, a quality that keeps relationships alive even in the hardest seasons. And perhaps the most powerful change of all is legacy. When dreams are fulfilled, the relationship leaves a mark that extends beyond the couple themselves. It becomes an example to others, a picture of what love can be when both people choose to go deeper. It influences families, inspires friends, and even shapes the way children will understand relationships. A bond built on this level of intimacy does not only transform two lives, it transforms generations. This is why unlocking a man's dreams matters so deeply. It is not about pleasing him. It is not about control. It is about creating the kind of love that lasts. It is about building a connection so real that time cannot erase it, struggles cannot destroy it, and distance cannot weaken it. When these dreams are honored, love becomes more than a feeling. It becomes a force that carries two souls through every storm, every challenge, every joy, and every season with unshakable strength. Love like this is rare, but it is possible. It is the kind of love men dream of, the kind women long for, and the kind both deserve. When it is unlocked, it proves that true intimacy is not a fantasy. It is a reality waiting for those who are willing to see deeper, give more, and embrace love without fear. That is the transformation. That is the power of fulfilling the hidden dreams of the heart. Return, because she crowned him first. This is why worshipful intimacy is not a small dream. It is a defining one. It turns love into legacy. It takes a man from feeling ordinary to feeling chosen. It makes him stand in his truth, not as someone struggling for approval, but as someone already crowned with it. And once he feels this, he cannot forget it. He cannot replace it. He cannot walk away from it. Because it is not just pleasure he received, it was honor.